Hi students, this is Foad. In this lab, we're going to do something basic. We're going to take a switch, perhaps we take a 2960 switch and we take a PC, a generic PC. Now on Packet Tracer we can access the switch by going to the command line interface very easily, no issue. But in the lab, when you're using a real switch, you need to connect it to a PC so you can see the interface, the command line interface of the switch, or even for that matter for a router. So what we generally do is we use a console cable, and we have this simulation in Packet Tracer as well, as I will show you. You select the console cable and you select the RS232 over here, which is a COM port, and connect it to your switch's console cable, which will be shaded blue, sky blue. Okay. Now once you have established this connection, you can go to your PC's desktop application. In the lab we usually use PuTTY, but here we're going to use terminal. Look at the bits per second. It's 9,600 bits per second. Click OK, and you're connected from your PC to the switch. So there are certain commands that you have here in the executive mode. What are those commands? You can know by just pressing a question mark. On the keyboard, if you press on the question mark, you will get a list of all the commands that you have. And if you go to privilege exec mode, enable, which you can type enable, or you can just type N, or if you type tab after pressing N, it will complete it for you. Okay. Typing enable takes you to the privilege exec mode. So remember, we are trying to configure our switch over here. Here as well, I can type a question mark to get a list of commands. Okay. I can type, for example, what command starts with C? There we go, C question mark. So it shows me the list of commands. Now let's look at the clock command. Show clock. So it shows me the time, but as you can see, the time and the date are both set incorrectly. So let's fix it. Now the thing is, I don't remember the command for setting up my clock. Okay, so what is the command? Very simple. You just have to type clock followed by question mark. Okay, so it tells you the command is set clock. Okay, so you can just use the question mark which will help you to finish certain commands. Okay, so let's start with this. I'm going to set my clock to a certain date. Okay, so let's say it's clock set. I don't remember the rest of the command. I press question mark. There we go. Clock set, mention the hour, minute, and seconds. So there we go. Clock set. Let's say it's 10 a.m. What comes after this? How to mention the date? I'm not so sure, so I use the question mark again. So it tells me you have to mention the date of the month. So let's say today is 11th of August 2020. And then I press enter. Done. Now I press show clock. I type show clock, and you see I have the new date. Okay, so let's go from here again to configure terminal. Remember, this also you can type a shortcut form, conf T. This takes you to your configure terminal. Okay, so change your host name from switch to, let's say, S1, and the change is done. Okay, the same settings that you have done for your switch, you can do it for your router as well. Okay, in the lab, if you have a router, your router, let's say we take a 1941 router, your router is also connected to a PC by using a console cable. So here we go. We take a console cable, again connected from the RS232 to my console cable in the console port in the router. Now I've established this connection. Again, I can go to my desktop's application, go to terminal, and bits per second is 9600. Click OK. There. Initial router configuration, no. There. We go to the router executive mode. In order to go to privilege exec mode, I press enable, and it takes me to the router privilege exec mode. Okay, so show clock. There we go. It's the same wrong date as before. This is the default date that has been set on all Cisco routers and switches. Just like the previous one, you can change the date.